Hello, everyone. Welcome to House Numerology. How's everybody doing this evening? We'll wait for a few people to jump on. House Numerology is something that is so valuable. Once you find out about it, you're going to want to find out more about it. I'm just reminding people on my other wall that I'm live now. Okay. Oh, come on. Hi, Jules. Hi, Mickey. Hi, Melanie. Hi, Rebecca. Hi, Renee. Hi, Kimberly. I don't know what 18G, I don't know if the G is a typing error thing, but we're going to run tonight is not going to be the normal, just post and we go down the list. I want to have some very specific cases, so don't post anything about your address until we get to the situation. And I'm going to explain about what house numerology is. So let's say that I suck at drawing, but I'm going to draw. All right. So let's say in the old days, they built a log cabin, right? Maybe they put a window in it. Maybe it had a little roof. All right. So they built a log cabin. This log cabin is not influenced by numerology. Why? Because they never assigned an address to it. If you were born and they never documented your birth or your name, you would not be influenced by numerology. The minute you put a name or an address on it, and why a name? Because every letter of the alphabet converts to a number. So the minute they called this 123 log house, now it's affected by numerology, and every single person living in that house is influenced by that vibration. So your living space can either work for you or against you. And so there were a lot of times when I was doing readings that the cards, I couldn't figure it out. And then I would always go to numerology. I'd be like, okay, can't figure it out with the cards, but we can figure it out with numerology. That's how important numerology is. So I've been studying numerology for probably 25 years. Good evening, Bonnie Moore. Hello, Carmen. Hi, Pam. Hi, Taz, Woke, Jenny. So, this is what happens when you sign an address. Now, some people live in the country. Well, my address is way out by the road. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's down by the road. And the thing I like about numerology is there's remedies for everything. There's a remedy for you. There's a remedy for the personal cycle that you're in. There's a remedy for your house. There's a remedy for your boyfriend, but you don't want to do it without his permission. You only want to work on yourself. But when you do house remedy, I like to look at pretty much everybody in the house, because the minute you change, and you don't have to change your address. A remedy is just a simple little remedy that's taped to the door. That's it. And when you don't want it anymore, you cross it off or you remove the little sticky tape or whatever it is you did the remedy with. So we're going to look at house numerology tonight. For the first sample, I would like to know if anyone, Mickey Bailey gave an apartment 18G. So Mickey, does the G belong on there? I need to know if the G was a typing error or you actually have the G is part of the address, because that's going to make a difference. So I'm glad she put the apartment number in there, because if you live in an apartment building I don't need the building. The building is what everybody is influenced by, but it's a minor influence. Whatever they put on your door, whatever is assigned to your space within there is what we use for apartments. The same with a duplex. Whatever one half of the duplex is, that's your address. Okay, so I'm not sure if Mickey is still with us, so I will. Oh, yes, it's part of it. Okay, so that would be a 7. So Mickey, your apartment number. You guys don't have to give your addresses because I'm not going in order. I'm looking for very specific things, so I may or may not get to you, depending on what your scenario for your address is. So 18G is part of it. Okay. So what we're going to have here, and you guys, because there's only 1 through 9 numbers, you want to listen to all of this, to everybody's, because it's going to apply to you in some way or another. So we're going to convert that G to the number 7 because it's the 7th letter of the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. 7. So you take 8 plus 1 is 9, and 9 plus 7 is 16. And any number that is above 9, you add to itself. So 16, 1 plus 6 would be a 7. All right? Mickey lives in a 7 house. Now, Mickey, I need the day you were born. So let's say it was March 23rd. I need the 23rd. So Mickey Bailey, I need the day you were born, because I'm going to look and see if this house number 7 is compatible with you. So when I'm working with someone, if you can refrain from typing so that they have a chance to answer, it just helps this go faster and I can get through more people this way. So the other thing, for those of you who went ahead and posted your address, it doesn't help me unless I have the day you were born. So you just have to put on there the address, born on this day, because I'm trying to match you up with the house. So she was born on the 8th. All right. Good enough. So Mickey, in a 7 vibration house, it is a spiritual, it's a very spiritual number, and it also means that it wants the people to be somewhat quiet. Now for an 8 person in a 7 house, this can work. And in a 7 house, you want to make sure that if you have a relationship, that it's really strong, because a 7 house doesn't like new relationships to come in, and it will discourage them. So a lot of people, if they're trying to find love and they live in a 1 or a 7, I do a remedy on it, because a 7 is a very hard vibration to have a relationship with. It's about isolating yourself, working on your intuition, tranquility. It's a place where you can soul search. It'll teach you lessons about spiritual beliefs and standing on your own and finding out who you really are. Some of the glitches of a 7 home is it's so internal that you may not go out in the world and meet people. It might turn you into like a hermit because it kind of wants to be alone. And it can be so self-directed at yourself that it can be hard to look at others. It's also a place where you could use escapism. So you could do emotional eating and things like that. It's a great place for someone who wants to do writing, studying, a scientist, teaching. It's kind of like a refuge type of energy. So your 8 is extremely powerful in the business world, and a 7 promotes intelligence and analyzing. So for you, your house, I'm going to say, is in harmony with you unless you're trying to meet someone and you're not able to do that because of the 7 house. So in that case, the 7 house could work against you. Okay. Okay, what I'm looking for now is someone who wants to switch jobs. Are you wanting to, like, you have a job, and you're hesitant to leaving it, but you're thinking of leaving it and switching jobs? Is there somebody out there who is thinking of switching jobs? I want to do the house numerology on you. So if you're thinking of switching jobs, type out switching jobs so I know who you are. And if it's nobody, we'll move to the next scenario. The next one I'm going to look at, I don't know what me please means. Right now, type in switching jobs if you're thinking of switching jobs. You're a hermit naturally. You're single, 10 years. Oh my God, I don't like having people over. Yeah, if you ever want to meet somebody, let me know, because we'll do a remedy. We'll do a remedy on that. You're thinking, okay, Melanie Bresnaha, thank you. Melanie Bresnaha, let me jump back up and see if you gave your information on your house. Melanie Bresnaha, let's see, where are you? 358, thank you. And you were born 9/22. So you're a 4 for your core. I'm looking at your core number. And then how you do that is 3 plus 8 is 8. And 8 plus 8 is 16. And that's over 9. Oh, God, we got another 7 house. That's freaking weird. But that's all right. We got a 7 house again. So you guys, I don't have to repeat all that about the 7 house, because you guys all know what a 7 house is. But she's trying to switch jobs. So her house would tell her, make sure you do a lot of research. So she could go to the point where she researches so much that she can't, she literally could research herself to death and not find a new job, because she'd always feel like she has to research. She would also want a job that would, her core number wants a job that's, that's very reliable and financially secure, if not making more money. And the house is going to tell her, use your mind, get a thinking job, get a challenging job. So if she wanted to get a job where she could just, lazily do her work, a 7 house is going to be hell no. And then it would work against her. But if she wanted to get a job that challenged her more, plus the fact she's got 2 7s in the year of her birth, and she's living in a 7. So that just tells me that this is really her space, right? This is really Melanie's space. So the type of job that this house is going to want you to have, Melanie, is one that uses your brain. You work alone. Nobody fucking bothers you. So even if it's working for a company, you're working alone. They don't want you in a group. A 7 house would not want you in a group. And it wants you to be thinking. And with your 4, you're wanting structure, and a 7 is okay with that. So I'm going to say in your case, the house is actually working for you. Well, it's not UGG the story of your life. If you don't like the experience of that house, you can easily change it. Let me see. Who else was switching jobs here? Because I'm hoping we get a different address than a 7. Because we've started out with 2 7s. And I'd like to find somebody switching jobs. Takes me a second to scroll here to see who else was switching jobs. Pam McGinley. Pam McGinley. What is, did you give your address? If it would take shorter time when I pick you, if you would just give your address and your month and your day of birth again, because otherwise I have to scroll up through all these names. That's my current job. Got last August. Wow, good for you. And you're going to switch again already? That would be interesting. Okay, Pam, if you can just give your address in case I didn't catch it up earlier. Sometimes as we get more people posting on here, I have to scroll pretty high up. Pam, I don't see yours on here. So Pam, I will need not the street. I don't need the street, only the numbers of the house and the month and day you were, or the day you were born. And so I'm going to move on, waiting for her to respond, and we'll go back up and see that. Oh, here she is. Okay, 321. Don't give the street address. It's not helpful, and we don't want to give too much of your private identity away. Okay, she lives in a 6, and she was born on the 29th, which is an 11, which is a 2. So she's looking to switch jobs, and she's in a 2. So a 2 will tend to stay in the wrong job longer than they should. And they wait things out, like maybe it'll get better, or, so they stay in jobs way too long. The 6 house is going to want to have a job that takes care of you, that loves you, that's like a big family, and everybody would love you, and everybody cares about everybody. It wants nurturing. But the 6 is one of the houses that will accept no matter what you decide. If you're happy, the 6 house will embrace that. So some of the things that about a 6 house is this is a place about nurturing and beauty and family and compassion. It's a great place to raise a family. It also is business. It has a business sense. But you also have to be careful in the 6th house not to overgive to the point where you are drained. It is a perfect house for business where you're helping someone, like massage, energy work, counseling, anything where you're helping people. If you're looking for a no responsible, house, this is not for you, because the 6th house wants you to be responsible for your actions. It's kind of a domestic family, bake cookies, let's feed everybody. It nurtures everyone who comes. It enjoys and welcomes people into the house. But you could be bogged down by not being able to say no to people. A 6th house would be help them and help them out and help them out. And it could be exhausting. So for Pam, I'm going to say that you live in the perfect house for you to find a new job. As long as that new job is helping people, the house would be okay with it. Now remember, if the house is in disharmony, we can do a remedy very easily. Okay, the next example is somebody who wants to be in love. You are single. You want to be in love. So type out "I'm single." And then I need your just the numbers of your address and the day you were born. Because I want to do an example on love. I want to cover the main areas: finances, jobs, love, so you guys can see. Oh, Pam does energy work. That's perfect. The 6th house would love that. It would love that. So if anybody's single out there, put down single and what your month and day is. And then while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to just grab somebody else's address from the top here. Jane Mondello is 1085. Jane Mondello. Hi, Jane. And Jane is living at 1085. So that's a 9. Oh, that's a 14 house, which is a 5. Now, normally people living in a 5 house, I have you do a remedy, because 5 and 9 houses are very difficult for your average person to live in. So Jane, I would put a +1 on your house. Oh, wait a minute though. You were born on the 23rd. So she's a 5. She could be the exception. Because she's born on the 5, she might have picked a 5 for free. The positive side of a 5 is freedom and adventure. So 5 houses, they can be upsetting, okay? But when you're balanced in your numbers, a 5 house is about fun, fearlessness, adventure, tons of ideas, energy. It promotes all kinds of social engagements. It supports your sense of freedom to fully express who you are. Those living in a 5 house, they will tackle life's problems. They'll just say, well, all right, here's a problem. I'm going to tackle it. If you're looking for a solid, steady environment, this is not going to be the house for you. It wants freedom. It wants adventure and lots of weird, quirky things happen in 5 houses. So if you want to create fun, adventure, and travel in your life, it's perfect. The downside is it moves so fast that it can feel like you're constantly being knocked off your game, because it is about fun, sensuality, sex, just it'll have you leaving. Like, hey, you've been home an hour, let's go somewhere. It'll constantly encourage you to leave. So that's a 5 house. Okay, so let's go back down here. Single, Tammy Makuzi. Thank you, Tammy. Mazuka. Tammy Mazuka. 410. We don't need the 411, but we need the apartment 12, and she was born on the 12th. All right, so this is a 3 number. And so she's in a 3 house, and 3s are all about, this is interesting, that she's in a 3 house and she's single and wants a relationship, because a 3 house is about optimism and joy and upbeat energy and communication and self-expression. It's an artistic kind of number. People living in this house will be creatively expressing their emotions and doing a lot of creative things. It's also not a solitary retreat place. But since you're a 3, you're in a 3 house, you can totally relate to that creativity. So this is a home where you could experience financial problems, because 3s like to spend money, and the house would encourage you to spend money, and so would your day that you were born. And so if you want to meet someone, a 3 could, but a 2 or a 4 would be better for meeting someone. So if you put a +1 only one time on a sticky note on a door leading to the outside one time and change it to a 4, you would increase your chances of meeting someone. That's how fun numerology is. All right, let's see who else. Do we have another one? Renata, I'm single. And she's in a 3. Oh, her house number, Renata, you are in a house that doesn't want you to have a relationship. So you're a 3, which is okay, but your house is a 106, which is a 7, and 7s want to be left alone. So and you never subtract for remedies. So I'm going to have you add a +4, Renata, to the door, and that's going to make 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 1 + 1 is 2, and 2s are about relationships. So, and remember, numerology works. It's a science. It's not will it work, it's it will work. It's a science. It works every time. So, put a +4, Renata, and you will have a lot better chances of meeting someone. All right, I'm going to go through and grab a few addresses and days of birth from up at the top here. For those of you just joining, we're doing house numerology. I need just the number of your house and the day you were born. Jules has an A107. So we on A is the number 1. I have to turn off my heater. A is the number 1. Jules lives in a 9 house. And Jules, you were born on the 9th day. What is with all these people born on the same day as their houses? That's just very weird and doesn't happen very often. So tonight is freaky weird. So normally, I would say that this is a good thing, Jules, but in your case, I think it's going to make you overly emotional. A 9, so let's talk about a 9 house. 9 houses are about solitary, for one thing, okay? So they like to be alone. So those living in a 9 house, if you already are in a relationship and it's solid, then that's a good thing. But if you're trying to get one, a 9 is not a good house. It's about humanitarianism, charitable, helping others. It's a spiritual number, forgiveness. It wants you to make the world a better place, and it welcomes everyone, and it wants you to evolve spiritually. Living in this type of house will teach you lessons about being wise and finding your own truth, charitable giving, letting go of your past. It wants to clear out all the clutter of stuff that you don't use anymore. It's a place that if you want a place where you can focus on yourself, a 9 house isn't, because a 9 house is taking care of other people. So it's all about taking care of other people. So if you want to help other people, be a volunteer, something like that, spiritual house to grow in, that's a great house. The downside is this is a house where a lot of over emotional and loss occurs. You could just experience things that just add to the sadness. So I would say jewels, depending on what your goals are, I would say that to change the vibration of this house and to do a remedy. And the remedy would depend on your goal. And what I tell people is if you're never sure what to do for a remedy, then make it a 6. So 9 plus 6 would be 15, which is a 6. 1 plus 5 is a 6. So if you never know what to do, 6s get along with everyone. It's like the mother nurturing number. It gets along with everyone. A 6 house does. All right, let's see what we got going here. So how you do that is you would put a +6 on a little piece of paper and stick it to the door, or in pencil, write a +6. And I always have people do it by the doorknob on the inside of the house, because then people will say to me, I did a remedy and I don't know what I did. I'll be like, look by the doorknob. If you always do it by the doorknob in little tiny writing, that's what you want to do on the door. One woman called me up and said, your remedy didn't work. And I said, what did you do? She put 2-foot letters on the side of her house, the remedy, and the postman actually asked her what she was doing in big vinyl letters. I said, no, you put it on the wall of your house. It did nothing. You did nothing. And she thought big was better. No, tiniest little letter, put it around the doorknob, a +6, and that's all you have to do for jewels. And you will feel the shift immediately. The minute you do a numerology remedy, it goes into effect immediately. All right, I'm going to go back up here and see what else we have. Kimberly Ann. She lives in an 1856, so that's 9. 8 plus 1 is 9, plus 5 is 14, which is another 5, plus 6 is an 11, which is a 2. So Kimberly Ann is living in a 2 house, and she was born 9/22, which is a 4 house. That is a perfect house for you. And let's talk about the 2 house. We're going to talk about the 2 house. So in a 2 house, it wants you to kind of have a relationship. It wants peaceful. It doesn't like a lot of noise, all right? It's a place for loving. Once again, like the 6 house, it wants love and family and partnership. It wants to be included. It wants to be safe. It wants to be harmonious. It'll teach you lessons about relationships, peace, harmony, love. If you're looking for a place to go out and show yourself to the world, a 2 is not the house for you, because this is about your personal relationship with another being and finding peace in your life. It's not about going out there and making it big in the world. It is a perfect place to establish relationships, though. It's nurturing for everyone. However, this house can make you stay at home a little longer than what you would. And you can also get too emotionally invested in the lives of others. And that can happen in a 6 house too, but it can happen in a 2. So I'm going to say, Kimberly Ann, 2 and 4 are very harmonious numbers. So I'm going to say you are living in a very harmonious house according to the day you were born. All right, I'm going to grab somebody else. G. She's got a April 14th, and wait, what's your part number? 2802 is the apartment number. G. She's in a 3, and she is a 5 for her birthday. And a 3 house place is all about joy and fun and emotional and creative expression. And that's exactly what 5s like. And so you are in perfect harmony with your house. Congratulations. G. Carmen Turbuck, I don't know what NR means. NR 72. Does the N and the R go with the 72? So I'm not sure. You'll have to clarify your address. Jenny Tatswo, Jenny, sister duo, planning to sell, presently living in 160A. Why are you giving 2 dates of birth? Oh, sister. Oh, you live with your sister? 160A is a 7. That's an 8. Oh, good. We got somebody living in an 8. And we've got one person born on the 20th, which is a 2, and one person on the 21st, which is a 3. So let's talk about the 8 vibration house. 8 is the strongest number. It is the most powerful number of numerology that there is. It's about power, financial abundance. It promotes all kinds of financial activities in the material world. And in fact, you could feel like the material world is almost getting overwhelmingly in an 8 house because it will want you to work. Don't watch too much Netflix. You've got work to do. So if you're a student, it'll be like study, so you can make money. Living in a house of an 8 can teach you lessons about personal power, management, organizing, and being like a leader to people. If you're looking for a low-key environment, an 8 is not going to let you sit on your ass for long. It'll kick your ass out and tell you to do something with your life that'll earn a good living. It supports abundance and money in all areas of your life and business. The downside is it's also risk-taking energy, so it could encourage you to take risks that maybe you wouldn't take. It also has a tendency to be a hoarder. Like, hey, you got that on sale, put that down on the shelf for 10 years. And so people that live in 8 houses can end up with all this shit in their closets. So it will get along with the 2 beautifully, but for the 3, whoever was born on the 21st, an 8 house is way too serious for a 3 person. So it would not be in harmony with the 3 person. Hi, Donna. How do I make it big? Kimberly Ann. How do you make what big? What do you mean by big? Define big. Let me see. I'm grabbing somebody else here. Sean LaRoche, what is the day that you were born? Because I need the day you were born, and then I'll grab you if you can give that. All right, so I'm starting at, I'm going to scroll up here. Christina. Okay, Christina Marquardt. Her house is 709. So that is a 16, which is a 7. And she was born on the 15th, which is a 6. Now, because she's a 6 people are just like 6 houses. They can get along with everybody and everything, and they go with the flow. The space she's living in will make it a little challenging for her to get in a relationship. But you can do it. A 6 is the best one to do it, actually. That is the best number to get in a relationship in a 7 space than all of them. So I'm going to say that the place you're living in wants you to study, work hard, analyze things, do a lot of research. It could be a little bit harsh for the 6 energy that you are. It could kind of kick your butt if you want to be lazy. A 7 house does not promote laziness, but it does promote spiritual growth and study and things like that. So that's a good house for that. Heidi Phillips, her house number is 1726. And her birthday is on the 12th, which is a 3. Wow, a lot of you live in 7 houses. You live in a 7 house and you're a 3. Bang, bang, bang. Clash, clash. You actually, Heidi, live in a house that clashes with you. So a 3, being a 3, let me see. Did you give any more of your date of birth? So you're a 5-3. So, oh man, yeah, that house does that. Okay, this is an example where, Heidi, where your house will work against you. The house will want you to be alone and you will want to be out with groups of people. The house will want you to research and study, which will be fine, but a 3 doesn't want to stay focused for long periods of time. They're like studying here and then, oh, over here. Oh, look out over here. They like to be involved in lots of things. 7s don't like variety. 3s want variety. 3s like to get out. Get out. Let's go here. Let's go there. And the 7 house is like, no, let's stay home and watch Netflix all night long. Shall we? As long as we learn something. We want to be watching shows where we're learning. 7s love that. Or spiritually evolving. So in your case, I would add a +5 to make that house a 12 and make it a 3 with your joyful 3 energy. It will shift immediately. So on a door leading to the outside, you're going to put a plus sign and the number 5, and that is by the doorknob, and that is instantly going to make that a funner place to live. All right, let's see who else we have here. You love to be home and research. Oh my God, and you're a 3? Well, that would be your 8 personality, but wow. So Heidi, I think that's good, except if you're not getting out and getting enough socialization, then you're not staying in harmony with the 3 part of what your core number is. Now, you're not a strong 3 because you're not born on the 3rd. You have the 1. You have the 1 energy, which does want to be alone, but the 2 wants to be in a relationship, and the 3 wants to have fun. So you do have that 1, and with a 7 house, that would tend to make you want to stay alone. But as a 3, you need to have periods of your life, maybe more. If you're just working and going home, that's not going to work for your 3. So there's going to be a part of you that's going to feel like life is passing you by if you don't get out into that group energy and creative and connect with people and go to a few classes here and there. You've got to nurture your core number. So I would say to you, to get out more, and if you don't feel like it, it's because the 7 house would be like, don't listen to her, just stay here by yourself every day. But that's going to eventually make you unbalanced in the 3 energy, which could make you have communication issues, like you could have trouble expressing yourself. Anytime that you don't nurture one of your core numbers or your core number, it does have consequence. So I would say just, get out, connect with people, even in social media counts. Even if you're just connecting with social media, that counts. But really a 3 wants to get out and have adventures and things like that. So I would say that's okay if that feels like it works for you, but just make sure you get out and do things that 3s like doing, which is fun. 3s like to have a lot of fun. Yeah, the reason you're not getting enough socialization is because you live in a 7. And a 7 house will tell you you don't need socialization. Stay here by yourself every day because that's what a 7 wants. But you're going to miss out on a lot of fun. So that's one of the things. I live in a 7 house and I spend a lot of time alone, but I was born on the 30th. So I've got the same thing as you, except I'm a strong 3. And so I had to just tell the 7 house, I could have done a remedy, but I do spiritual work and the 7 house promotes that. I force myself to get out and socialize. I force myself. And that nurtures the 3. And I'm so glad I do it, but it's an effort because the 7 house is like, hey, you can stay here alone every day. The 7 house doesn't promote getting out and doing things like that. So that's, I'm really glad that you brought that up. I'm really glad that you brought that up. Sean LaRoche is 1003, which you guys know is a 4 house. Good. Let's talk about the 4 house. And Sean is born on the 30th. Ha, she's got a 3 and a 0 in that address. We are going to talk about the 4 house. And this is a house that wants you to be financially secure and stable. Slow and steady progress wins the race. Or it wants to be organized. It's very protective. It's very business oriented, solid investments, research, hard work. It's about setting goals, honesty. If you want a free flowing house, which you would, being in a 3, the 4 house is going to be a very serious place for you. So if you want to bring out like the thrill, fun-seeking side of you, the 4 house is going to be nope. We got to be serious. We got to buckle down. We got to have a savings account. Very earthy. It's nature-based. So it's a good place for earning money and setting goals. It's a bad place if you want to have lots of people over and have fun and do artsy-fartsy things. It can also be feel oppressive, like all I ever do is work. There's all work and no play. And a 4 house is like, yeah, that's the point of life for a 4 house. So if you want to have more fun in that house, I would add a +8. If you add a +8, it's going to make 8 + 4 is 12. 1 + 2 is 3. If you did a +8, you would have a lot of fun. And you would change your experience. Now, let's say you do a remedy and you don't like what it's done. You just cross it off, or if you put a sticky note there, you just take the sticky note off and the remedy is off. All right? Cross it off or take the sticky note off and the remedy is off. Rick Lucci. I'm running out of paper. Rick. His house is 1095 and his birthday was the 28th. He lives in a 6 house. That's nurturing, as you guys know. Oh, you know what? A 6 house, I can just stop right there because every number gets along in a 6 house. It's very nurturing and loving. And it's a place where after a hard day's work, you can come and it'll say, eat a cupcake, Rick. Just relax. Have a beer. Have a glass of wine. How about if you make yourself a hot bath and take care of yourself? You know, feed yourself. You could gain weight in a 6 house because it loves to eat. And it loves anything that nurtures you, a 6 house is. So if you live in a 6 house, that's beautiful. That is completely working for you. It will love everything you do, even if you mess up. It'll even accept you. If you screw up at work, it'll come home and say, hey, nobody's perfect. You're a good person inside out. So it's a very nurturing house to live in. Bonnie Moore. $52.75. You live in a 1 house. Oh my God. Is that right? 1. Yeah, you live in a 1 house and your birthday is a 7. So those 2 numbers do get along. A 1 house, you can have a married couple in a 1 house, but they're going to have their own separate lives. Like, in other words, one will be in a workshop and the other one will be watching TV, or they like different shows. But so the 1 house, the people that are couples that live in a 1 house, it wants you to keep your individuality. So, you know, a lot of times those people could even be in the same room. One will be looking at their phone and stuff and the other watching TV. So even though they're in the same room, they're doing totally different things. And that's because a 1 house is very independent, all right? And it teaches you about independence. It promotes a lot of ideas and leadership, self-employment, be very active in your career. And people living in this house are encouraged to be active and to be failing forward. In other words, a 1 house will allow mistakes as long as you learn from them. If you want a soft, fuzzy place to live, a 1 house is not going to be that. It wants you to have priority and to take action on your ideas. It wants you to create success. So it's a great place for people who are very active oriented and, want to be successful. The downside is it is lonely. It's the loneliest number. So in a one house, even if you're in a marriage, you can feel very alone. Kevin. Oh, God. Kelvin. I always get screwed up on your last name, and so I'm not even going to try to say it because I've been gardening all day. 175 strawberry plants went in the ground today. I'm exhausted. House number is 13, which is a 4. Kelvin is a 4. And he is a 1. He's a 1 living in a 4. Wow, it doesn't get much better than that. That's perfect. A 4 house loves success, goals, ideas, leadership, and that's all about a 1. You're actually in a perfect house. You're in a perfect match. Congratulations. What would Jenny Totswatsky, we're a 2 and a 3 living in an 8 house. What would my remedy as a 3 living with a 2? You don't, 3s and 2s. Yeah, you can't do a remedy so that you can live with somebody else better. But I have to tell you, if you're living in an 8 house, you're going to be competitive with each other. And the 8 house will get along way better with the 2 person than the 3. But if you're in a relationship with someone and you're having problems and one's a 2 and one's a 3, I would tell the 2 person to put a +1 on one shoe. That's the remedy for your core number, and make yourself a 3. And that way you're going to get along with that other person that you have to roommate with or have a relationship with. So instead of doing a house remedy, I would do a remedy to yourself, which is done on one shoe. Only one, and you only need to wear that shoe one time. Jamie Nicolai, 4398. And she's born 11, so that's a 2. You live in a 6. Yeah, you're in a perfect house. Any of you living in a 6, you're in a perfect house. It will love you exactly as you are, and you don't need to change anything. A 6 house is really easy to live in. Really easy to live in. He does his thing and you do yours, but it works. Well, if it works, keep doing it. The only time that you really need to do a numerology remedy is if it's not working. That's when you need a remedy. Otherwise, there's no reason to do a remedy, just to do a remedy. Who's got stagnant energy, Rick? From your house or from you? Why a shoe? Why do butterflies have wings? That's a good question. But whoever came up with the idea of numerology remedies, which I don't think that Pythagoras incorporated that theory, came later from the mathematicians who studied numerology. Why the shoe? It's a good question, but I think people don't like writing on themselves, I mean, because the only other way to do a remedy on your core number would be to write on yourself. And I think that that's a little weird to write on yourself. So a shoe holds your foot and it changes your core vibration for some reason. So, excuse me. For changing your personal cycles, you always use January 1st. Even if it's December of that year, you go back to January. So there's 3 things that numerology does for you. Number 1, there's your core birthday, all right? The day you were born on. So that's you, okay? And numerology has a lot to say about you. Then you've got space numerology. The car you drive has a license plate number. The house you live in has an address. The cubicle you work in, boy, I could tell you a freaking nightmare about that. When I was first learning numerology, I didn't realize that there was a letter in front of my cubicle number, so I did a remedy and made it a 9. Within 10 minutes, all hell broke loose at work. And it took 2 full days of fucking hell before I realized that that was the remedy I did causing that. I made my cubicle a 9, which is upsetting events also. I took that remedy off and everything went back to peace. And then I had to study what the hell went wrong, right? So that I always have to learn the hard way. So then that's your space. And then you have what personal cycles you're in, your personal year, your personal month. And those remedies are done on the calendar. So that's just a little bit about, I should actually put on my YouTube numerology. I should probably cover more of that because it's very, very important. But if you really want to learn numerology, I have a tarot page. It's $11 a month. It's called Tarot and Numerology Academy. It's on Facebook. You could join for 1 month, download all the numerology material, and get it all with my live lectures and everything for $11. So we're doing numerology tonight, Kim. Roman Katz, or Katz, however you pronounce that. I hope I didn't mutilate it. He was born on the 5th, and his address is 4705. He lives in a 7 house. Oh, wow. Sometimes for a 5 and a 3, a 7 house can be very serious. So, Roman, if you wanted to, have a lot of fun or do something, the 7 house would be just don't take any risks. Just make sure you keep your head and your wits about it. So, a 7 house can be pretty harsh to live in unless you want to study or research or, be alone. Then a 7 house is perfect. But for a 5, if you don't have any addictions, I would make it a 3, which is, you would do a +5 on it to make it a 3. And if you did a +7, nope, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't make it a 5. I would make it a 3, I think. Then it's going to lighten up. Either make it a 3 or a 6, Roman. Then I think you would have a lot more fun. What do you mean questionable occurrences, Rick? Rick Lucci, now you triggered my frickin' curiosity. Where is your house number, Rick? You're on here somewhere. Where did I put you? Because I want to talk about houses that bring in paranormal activity. God, didn't I write your name down? All right, Rick. Can you give me the day you were born and the address of your house again? And we're going to talk about, and I also want to know about what are these questionable occurrences that are happening in your house. Because I think that's a good thing to end on. Because there's certain numbers of houses that bring in paranormal activity. What are they? Number 7, number 5, and number 9. They bring in paranormal activities. And we can talk about that. We can talk about remedies. Watched your Edgar reading. Oh my God. Really? For COVID-19, Donna? That's interesting. Rick is 1095. Okay, 1095, and he was born on the 28th, which is a 1. And he lives in I just got done saying 5s have paranormal activity. Is there paranormal activity going on in the house? No. What does he live in? A 6. 9 and 1 is a 1. He lives in a 6. Ooh, a 6 would not like paranormal activity. It would be, unless it was nice. A dead grandmother that's loving, a 6 would have that. Yeah, you live in a 6 house and you're a 1. So that's a perfect house. But if you have strange occurrences, okay, so the house numbers that bring in paranormal are 5s, 7s, and 9s, and can bring in paranormal activity. Any house is capable of being haunted, okay? Because spirits can choose any house. But there's person died here. You overcame heavy addiction here. Okay, so that's stuff that's outside of the number of the house. Here's the thing about living in a 6 house, Rick. A 6 house will be like, oh, you're a hurting spirit? Oh, come on in. A 6 house will let spirits in. If you don't want spirits in your house, make it an 8. Because an 8 will be like, fuck you, spirit, get out. 8 houses do not like paranormal activity. And even if something weird happened in an 8 house, they don't like it. They're like, anything weird? Get out. So 8 houses are about power. They're very powerful houses, and spirits don't like that vibration. So if you make your house an 8 house, you can get by with no paranormal, and yet loving grandma can still come visit, but anything negative cannot. So one way to clear your house out of that bad shit is to make it an 8. Rick overcame an addiction. So he's a 28 and he's a 1. So here's the thing, Rick. In a 6 house, it would let you have the addiction because 6 houses love you no matter what. So the 6 house would, if you overcame it, it would love you. But if you didn't, it would love you also. You also do readings. Oh yeah, 6 house would be very nurturing for that, for doing readings. Thank you for sharing that, Rick. Because that is a good thing to teach everybody about that. So any number house can be haunted, any numbers. And this is also goes for people. People born on 5, where your core birthday is a 5, a 7, or a 9, you can bring in paranormal to yourself. Houses, 5, 7, and 9, same thing. So you can bring paranormal activity by when you were born, so that any house you live in, except an 8, because an 8 will be like, oh, hell no. But so paranormal activity can follow people, but it can also be in houses. So we have 2 separate things going there, and I don't want you to get confused by them. Your house was a 7 and full of spirits? I can totally believe that. Your house was a 7? Yes. Yes, a 7 house will throw your shit around if it's paranormal. It will knock on things. It'll do all kinds of stuff. You want it to stop, make your house an 8, which would be a +1 on the door, and the spirit will be like, oh shit, bye. You're a 9 and you learned years ago to watch the houses I move into. No, you don't want to watch the houses you move into. When people ask me what number house should I live in, don't move into a house based on whether or not you like the numbers, because you can do remedies. Buy houses for the things that make sense. They're in good neighborhoods, close to your work. Look at houses for everything except the address, because it's so simple to do a remedy. What's going to be impossible is for you to find a house with the exact address in the location you want, with the features you want in the house. Don't use numerology. Just like you don't want to use numerology to decide who to fall in love with, because you can do a remedy on yourself that will make you in harmony with that person and yourself. So don't move into houses based on the numbers. So if you would happen to move into a 5, 7, or a 9 house, do a remedy right away and it takes care of it. It takes care of it. It was the dark spirits, okay. Yeah, you definitely, if you are a 7, 5, 7, or a 9 person for your date of birth, for the core birthday you were born on, you can draw in paranormal activity to yourself. But you can fix it too on your shoe. Remember that? All right, we are up on the hour. And my voice is going because I've been breathing in crop dirt from planting and using, what is that? Peat moss. It's very dusty and it got in my lungs and it's just making me cough and causing all kinds of issues tonight. So this was House Numerology. Thank you all. I love you all for joining me, and I will see you next week. Have a great rest of your weekend, guys.